what happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
D.C. is already safer than it was 9 days ago, but we're going to make it safer still to come. This is your city. You should feel free to come and visit here, have a meal, see all these incredible monuments, and actually enjoy yourself. And that's what we're trying to make happen. And I think that if we set a standard in Washington, D.C., that political willpower can bring some common sense, law and order back to these communities, then maybe some other communities and other cities will follow suit.
For the first time in a long time, D.C. has gone 7 days without a homicide. And that's not all. Carjackings are down 83%. Robberies are down 46%. Car thefts down 21%. And overall violent crime is down 22%.
Former President Barack Obama says he's giving his blessing to California Governor Gavin Newsom's redistricting map. Obama endorsed the map while speaking at a fundraiser for the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. The former president says it would be his preference not to have political gerrymandering, but given the effort in Texas to approve new maps favoring Republicans, he's supporting California's effort.
There are 3 guided missile destroyers deploying off the coast of Venezuela. It's all part of President Trump's plan to help combat drug cartels in Latin America.
3 U.S. guided missile destroyers, the USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, and the USS Samson, are being deployed in these efforts, with some news outlets also reporting that the ships should arrive there imminently off the coast of Venezuela. So this will bring the military posture to about 4,000 sailors and Marines.
Ukraine saying an American electronics plant in the western part of the country is one of the several targets in a massive Russian drone attack overnight. 1 person is dead and 15 people are hurt, according to President Zelensky, who also wrote in a statement, there have been no signal from Moscow that they are really going to engage in meaningful negotiations and end this war. Pressure is needed, strong sanctions, strong tariffs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition, Human Events Daily. We're here live in Washington, D.C. Today is August 21st, 2025, Anno Domini. The much safer Washington, D.C., whereas, of course, we just saw the news. The Washington, D.C. has, for the first time in a very, very long time, gone an entire week without a single homicide. You'd think, by the way, that wouldn't be something that we'd be cheering about in our nation's capital, but it is, because that's just how bad the situation has become here in D.C. It's one of the reasons that I and many other people that I know in Washington, D.C., that we don't take our kids out, we don't go to the parks. Certainly, if you're going anywhere, you're not going after night. And, of course, we also, it's by the way, so President Trump has been talking about the Smithsonian and wanting to fix up the Smithsonian's. And I'm saying, wait a minute, he must be watching Human Events Daily again, because I've been railing against the D.C. museums all year, specifically this summer. I know I talked about the Spy Museum a couple of times, and we mentioned a few others as well. The museums are an absolute joke. They teach lies as truth when you come into the city, and you just can't do it. You just absolutely can't have it for the kids. So as a dad, as a father who has young children in the D.C. area, you know, this is absolutely something that I support. Thank you, Mr. President. I've watched all of the videos that have come out thus far, and I haven't seen a single one that I disagree with. Funny enough, you also can't seem to find any of the videos of people being arrested by ICE where they're speaking English. Amazing. Well, folks, we're looking at, of course, the Ukraine-Russia situation. Deal or no deal? And we saw the momentum early on this week, which was huge. Of course, at the tail end of last week, their historic moments in Anchorage, Alaska, the Anchorage Accords that sit down with Vladimir Putin, Sergei Lavrov, and others. Then the multilateral meeting, which came on Monday, just 48 hours later, where you had the heads of 7 world leaders coming to the White House. France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy. They were all there. Ursula von der Leyen, even Alexander Stubb of Finland. But the question is, here's the question. Will the deal come out? Because you've got an issue here, and one of the tensions is short game versus long game, all right? For the Americans, they're looking at it from the perspective of a short game. The Ukrainians are looking at it from the perspective of a short game. So are the Europeans. Because all of those leaders are directly tied to election cycles. They're also directly tied to the current public opinion of the time. The Russians don't have that. So the Russian leadership is looking at this from the long game perspective. And from the long game perspective, they're saying, what kind of deal, what kind of assurances can you give us? What do we want? By the way, I mentioned yesterday how they want to bring the United Nations in. They said UN Permanent Security Council, which would include China. Zelensky then came out yesterday and said absolutely not anything with China. So again, when it comes to these things, and I had the opportunity, real honor, by the way, to be able to sit in that new media seat in the White House and ask the question of our press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, to say, well, when we say security guarantees, what do we mean? Can we elaborate on this? And the devil is in the details, and the devil certainly is in the details here. Because when it comes down to it, a security guarantee from the West means that that country, whether it be the United States, France, England, Germany, you've got to roger up and deploy troops to be willing to go to war with Russia. And no country, not even Poland, has been willing to do that over the last 3.5 years. Are we going to get a deal or not? We'll see. We've got General Flynn coming up next. I'm going to get his take on it. Human Events Daily returns